Hi everybody, it's Mr. Ryan. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and now it's time for our next chess lesson. So last week we talked about the White King. Does anybody remember what his name was? That's right, King Chompers. Very good. Well, this week we're going to talk about the Black King and how he moves on the board. But before we do that, let's start by reading our story about King Shaky. King Shaky lived very close to King Chomper in Chesslandia, just on the other side of the checkered lawn. King Shaky was a silly king because he lived in a silly castle. Most kings live in castles made of stone, brick, and cement, but King Shaky's castle was made entirely out of pillows. Yes, pillows! King Shaky's castle had pillow walls, pillow floors, pillow ceilings, and pillow doors. And King Shaky never went outside because he was too afraid of anything that wasn't a pillow. King Shaky was afraid of cheese, he was afraid of trees, he was afraid of his knees, and he was super afraid of bumblebees. King Shaky had a fun morning ritual. He woke up in his pillow bed, walked across his pillow floor, and opened up his pillow box full of the king's jewels. There was one jewel for every color of the rainbow. Then King Shaky picked up the jewels and let them fall through his fingers back into the box. It was a cushiony life. But one morning there was a disaster. King Shaky was letting his jewels fall through his hands when a bumblebee flew in the window and landed on them, mistaking them for flowers. King Shaky was so scared of the bee that he accidentally threw all his jewels out the window. Oh no! He had never left his safe pillow castle, but now his jewels were scattered all over the checkered lawn. What will King Shaky do? King Shaky walked out of his pillow room and down his pillow steps. He cracked open the pillow front door to take a peek, and he saw his jewels twinkle on the checkered lawn. Then he remembered that courage means doing something even though you're afraid of it. So King Shaky decided to be brave and tie pillows all over his body like a pillow suit of armor and go outside. Even though he was so scared of grass, King Shaky thought the grass was dangerous, he still decided to go. So he tiptoed one slow step at a time. One step, pick up a jewel. One step, pick up a jewel. King Shaky collected all the jewels and eventually made it back to his cozy pillow castle. Being brave made King Shaky feel so proud of himself. So now that we know the story of King Shaky, let's see what he looks like on the chessboard. Alright everybody, let's see how our pieces look on the board. So last week we talked about King Chompers. And King Chompers, of course, is the White King. How do we know he's a king? He's got a little crown on his head. Right here. So we talked about where he goes on the board. And he goes on E1. A, B, C, D, E, and one square up. Now King Shaky, who looks like this, he goes on E8. So we count across the board. A, B, C, D, E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The easiest way to remember is if you can find where to put King Chomper, King Shaky goes on the opposite side of him, on the same row. All right, now in the story, King Shaky had a bunch of jewels that he used here. So let's go ahead and flip the board around just like this so that I can play with King Shaky today. All right, now we're going to leave King Chomper on the board, and we're going to put some of his pizzas around like this. But then we're also going to put some jewels for King Shaky like he had in his story around like this. All right. Now remember last week we called this move and wait. So which color gets to go first? Does anybody remember? That's right, it's the white. So the king gets to go first. Now he's going to move how many spaces at a time? Just one space at a time. So he's going to move this way. Now he has to wait. The next player gets to go, which is me. And I'm going to be King Shaky and move and grab myself one of my jewels. Just like this. Now I wait for the next person to go, which is King Chomper. And he has a piece of pizza right in front of him. So he's going to eat this one. Now it's my turn. So I'm going to go diagonal and pick up another one of my jewels. Now in the real game of chess, you won't have jewels and pizza all over your board. You'll have to figure out which way to move by how you're going to play in the game. But for this game, we'll use pizza and jewels. Now here's the situation. Whoops, King Chomper here doesn't have a spot to go to pick up a piece of pizza. His pizza's all the way over here. So he's going to have to go to an empty spot and wait. When it's his turn next time, he'll get his pizza. Now King Shaky, he doesn't have a jewel right around him in a spot either, so he's going to have to go to a spot and wait. The next turn, King Chomper gets his piece of pizza, and then King Shaky gets his diamond. The thing to remember is that both kings, Chomper and Shaky, can only move one space at a time. Any direction they want, but only one space at a time. And this again is how they look without their character pictures. So now that we have the kings set up, next week we're going to learn about their children, which we also call the pawns. We'll see you next week. And until then, everybody go out and play some chess.